I have been keeping a surprise. Alright, so today we are shadow and schmoozing it up. It has been a minute since we've done one of these. This is where we chit chat and talk about whatever. Today's a good one to come back with, let me tell you. I've been waiting for this. We're gonna be doing this makeup look. I'll have all the products I used today listed down below in the description box along with all the shade names and everything. And I also wanted to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Ritual. I've gone to work with Ritual for a few years now and I've been taking their Symbiotic Plus. It's a prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic all in one. These are vegan capsules. They smell like mint, which is one of my favorite things about Ritual because you don't feel like you're taking like a gross pill that makes you want to gag. These literally just taste and smell like mint, and you can take them on an empty stomach because it has a delayed release capsule, so it doesn't upset my stomach at all. I don't have to take it with food. I can take it any time of day whenever I feel like it, and they're shelf stable, so they don't need to be refrigerated. I have a lot of travel coming up, which we will get into, and taking the Symbiotic Plus just keeps me regular, okay? Especially with traveling. You know how things can get thrown off when you're traveling, and why is that? That is a weird thing that happens. One thing I absolutely love about Ritual is they are very transparent. You can go on their website, you can trace exactly where things are coming from, and it contains 2 of the world's most clinically studied probiotic strains. Most of us have just, you know, daily normal disturbances of life like poor diet, stress, travel, or if you're on like certain medications that can all kind of throw off our gut. So that's why it can be important to take a supplement like the Symbiotic Plus every day. So this is one thing that I will definitely be packing and always throw in my suitcase because I notice a difference when I'm not taking this as far as just like bloating and stomach things, if you will. So I'll have the link for Ritual pinned in a comment down below. You can also click the description box and it'll be right at the top. But if you go to ritual.com/TaylorWynn25 or use the code TaylorWynn25, that'll give you 25% off your first order on Ritual. Testing a different mic, so we'll see how this sounds. The kind that just clips on. I'm gonna throw on some Body Glow, the Sol de Janeiro Glow Oil. But a hack that I figured out the other day, which honestly, I need to make a TikTok or reel on this or something. You can put Body Glow on or not. Just put like moisturizer, something that has a little bit of glow. And then, let me show you. That stuff smells so good. So the thing that I randomly tried the other day that I was like, whoa, why is this not a thing? Is take a setting spray, a glowy one if you have it. MAC Fix Plus is perfect for this because it stays on well and it has a really nice like dewy finish. And then you just spray the crap out of your chest, and because it's a setting spray, it like keeps that dewy finish and you don't have to worry about transfer and like color coming off if you just want the like body glow aspect. Let me cover my mic. So we'll let that dry down. Damn, I make a good iced coffee if I say so myself. Okay, what are we doing? I'm gonna throw on SPF. This is the NYX Blur Screen. I'm almost out of it the last few uses. It feels very moisturizing and almost has like a cream kind of feel to it, and makeup always just sits really nicely over top of this. I have been trying this Korean. This is the Beauty of Joseon. This is the matte blurring sunstick, and I feel like when I use it just on my pores, like around my nose, center of the forehead, and over here, almost like a primer, it does a nice job of slightly blurring the skin. Trying to achieve extremely blurred skin today, so I'm gonna use the Milani Concealer and Perfect Blur Out Smoothing Primer. Still trying this. The first couple times I've used this, I'm not super impressed, but let's see how it does today. It's just like a silicone kind of product in a pot. Yeah, I just never feel like this does that much. You could skip that. I'm gonna be mixing these 2 foundations today. I have on the tiniest bit of tanner left over, but pretty close to my natural skin tone right now. So I'm gonna mix the CoverGirl Blurring Skin Tint SPF 30. This is a new foundation by CoverGirl with the Misha in the shade 23, just because I think I'm gonna have to lighten this one. I've used this one maybe like 5 times so far. Sometimes I really like it, sometimes I'm on the fence. I feel like it really depends on what you're putting under and over with this one, but we're gonna try mixing it. I will say it's very mattifying, very like lightweight. I'm just gonna mix it on my face, then we're gonna get to chatting. Okay, sorry, it's been a long lead up here. Little goes a long way too, so that might have been too much. This one has a very gray undertone, like neutral gray. Ooh, I think these 2 together could be a winning combo because the Misha combined with this is just giving like a really pretty natural like satin finish. Gonna darken my face with bronzer and stuff, but those 2 together so far are looking very nice. Definitely full coverage. Okay, so the big news. Got to give a little backstory here. For those who don't know, I studied abroad in Jordan. I don't even know how many years ago now, when I was in college, my junior year, 2013 13. Lived there for a year. We could choose to live in an apartment in Amman with other students or to be randomly placed into a host family. I chose the host family, and honestly one of the best decisions I've ever made for many reasons, but it just like really made my experience in Jordan at the time. Got to see like firsthand the culture, and I just got so lucky with the family that I was placed in. I don't even remember how many of us, maybe like 8 or 9 of us living in a 2-bedroom house. And being an only child growing up, that was like such a cool thing for me to experience, and I loved it. We all just like really clicked. Sarah at the time, which is Nada's daughter, was maybe like 13 when I was living there. Seeing her at that stage, and then now she's what, like 25. Zayd at the time was in his early 20s. By the way, this brow product, current favorite. This is great. Love the shade, love the holding power. But yeah, we just like had so much fun, really hit it off. It was just such a unique experience. And if you are in your 20s, or I guess late teens, and debating studying abroad, if you are able to, and actually it was cheaper, way cheaper than college tuition in the US, but if you are able to and you get into a program, do it. You got to do it. Such a unique experience that you'll never have again, and also just take the experience to live with a host family. I did have friends who didn't get as lucky with their host families, and there were like a few situations and stuff, so I just feel like super grateful to this day that somehow we got placed together, and I just like really think it was meant to be that we met each other, all of us. As the years went on, we kept in touch, and then it wasn't until I was doing the digital nomad thing a couple years ago. I have a bunch of vlogs if you're new here. I traveled all over the place for 2 years. I got to go back to Amman, live with them again, stayed with them for I think like a month the first time. I do have a couple different Jordan vlogs because I had that trip, and then I think the next year I came back as well.
Taylor wants to make a surprise for Sarah, so let's do it.
Wait, she can't see you. How do you say excuse me again? It was just so special going back, because just seeing like all of the changes with Amman and with Jordan itself, but then also everyone at a totally different phase of life. Like Sarah is super smart. She was like top of her class in pharmacy, has a good job, works for a good company, and she's like in her mid-20s now. Zayd is married. Naran, his wife, is amazing, and they have 2 kids. It's just like, it was so cool going back and just seeing what has changed, but also not, you know? It just felt like we had plopped right back to where we were, and like no time had passed. I just love being back in Jordan. I love the food. I love the culture. There's so many stereotypes with the Middle East that are just wrong. I have a whole video talking about the culture and my experience. Super welcoming, super friendly. This is the Wet n Wild in the shade Brunette. So when I was there in Jordan, one of the trips, we tried to get Sarah and Nada visas because I was gonna take them to Paris. I asked Sarah, like, where would you wanna go out of anywhere? And she said Paris. In Jordan, you can get a visa easily to like Turkey, other Middle Eastern countries, but it's a lot more difficult coming from the Middle East to get a visa just to visit, like a tourist visa, to other places. We applied for visas to go to France for me, Sarah, and Nada, her mom, and unfortunately at the time they all got denied. Their visas got denied. There was no reason given. It is expensive. They don't give you your money back, and there was no reason given. So that was sad because we were all like really looking forward to it. And so when I was leaving the last trip, when I was in Jordan, I remember Sarah and I were sitting at an outdoor cafe. We were having some hookah, having some food like we do every day in Jordan. We were talking, and I was like, I just think it'd be so cool if you guys could come to the US. Having them in the US, I would be a a wreck. Like it would just be so special to be able to, after like them hosting me and them showing me their culture, to be able to like do that. Already getting emotional. To be able to like reciprocate and do that for them and like show them where I grew up and show them parts of the US would just be like so cool. So, you know, Sarah's like, yeah, that'd be cool, that'd be cool. And I'm like, okay, but I'm serious. Some months went by, then we kind of picked up the idea back up. And this was maybe like a year ago or so, if not even a little more. We decided to go for it and to apply for US tourist visas for Sarah and Nada. And this time I was like, we are gonna be so detailed, so on it, do major research so that these visas don't get denied. I'm gonna do everything I can. So Sarah gets it all together. We get all of the information that we need for the visas, go to like different offices and speak with different people and make sure we're good. We submit the visas. They also each had to have an in-person interview. I think it was maybe like 2 months where we weren't sure what was gonna happen. And I could not believe, I was in total shock that their visas got approved. They have US tourist visas for 5 years. I could be butchering this, but it's something weird. Like you have to go within the first year or something, but then if you go one time, then it's renewed for 5 years or something like that. Basically, they have access to the US for 5 years as long as under the current administration, things don't change more with the US tourist visas. I'm so glad that we applied when we did because they probably would have got denied if they were applying now. Spending forever and a half on my brows. Speaking of brows, I saw an old picture on my phone and I'm debating going back to these kind of brows, like the thicker brows. Let me know down below. Thick brows, or should I stick with the thinner look? I'm brow blind at this point. Just to pause the story for a second, one thing that I think I might do is get my microbladed. They're still, I mean, they're on there from like years and years ago. So one thing I've been debating doing is getting them removed. You can just go to like a tattoo removal place that does brows, just so I have more flexibility with like the shape and stuff, because I would love to do the look where it's like the tail isn't here, it's kind of like lifted, because I think it just like lifts your whole face a little bit. So their visas get approved. We all can't believe it. We're all in shock. So I start planning the trip for Sarah and Nada coming to America. This has been in the works for a minute. So it is so crazy that this is now here. When you guys are watching this video, I am with Sarah. If everything goes, knock on major wood, if everything goes to plan at the border control coming into the US right now, which is definitely a little bit of a sketchy time to be doing this, but we're taking all the possible steps to ensure that they get through the border. I wrote out like a super detailed itinerary with everything they could possibly need to know about their stay here. If all goes to plan at the border, we are together right now in America. Sarah, Nada, and I. The amount of times that I've like cried about this, it's just gonna be so freaking surreal, especially because the first week, so we're going to 3 different places. They're here for about 3 weeks. They're flying into San Diego, which is where I'm from. That's where my parents live. So my parents are hosting them at our house. And my parents, however, 12, 13 years ago, came to Jordan and went to their house. So to now be able to do the reverse and host them with my parents and have them stay in our house is just like, oh my God. I think I'm gonna just like cry every day. I'm definitely gonna be filming their arrival into the US. I don't know if it's gonna be on Instagram or well, I'm gonna be vlogging like the whole trip. So don't worry. I'm just gonna be like a literal puddle in the airport. Love this. Is the e.l.f. camo bronzer in the shade Light. Such a nice tone, blends out easy, just gives you like the prettiest bronzy look. So we're staying for a week in San Diego. Obviously gonna do the beach, maybe some surfing if Sarah or Nada wants to pop up on the board. Going shopping. Sarah's like, the thing that she's most excited for in the US is to go shopping. So we're gonna be doing lots of shopping, lots of makeup shopping, going to TJ Maxx. She's never been to TJ Maxx. Obviously gonna give them the best San Diego Mexican food burrito experience. Their first real burrito. I need to change my battery real quick. I just realized I didn't even put on concealer yet. Guess we're doing bronzer first. But yeah, don't you worry. Mexican food will be had. So after the week in San Diego, first I had planned to go to Seattle just so they could see again like where I lived. Seattle is beautiful. There's lots of you know, outdoorsy things to do. It's still a city. Then I kind of decided, okay, if they have a 5-year visa, you know, I would love to have them come back and we'll go to different areas in the US like in the future if possible. And so I don't know, I think Seattle would be kind of more on that list, but for their first trip I really wanted to hit like the exciting American kind of places. So we are going to Vegas, baby. We are going to Las Vegas. Gambling isn't allowed in Islam, so we won't be gambling, but we will be doing, I honestly love Vegas just for like the crazy hotels. It's so cool to see like all the different, you know, shows, and the shopping is great. The food is amazing. There's like restaurants from all over the place that end up in Vegas. I like Vegas and I'm not like a big partier, so I just think it's a fun experience to stay in like the pretty hotels and, you know, whatever. It will be August, so I don't know how much we'll be like laying by the pool and whatnot because we'll be roasting, but you know, they're used to that in Amman, so dry heat. Using the NYX Bear With Me concealer in vanilla. Let me know down below your favorite like party, non-gambling things to do in Vegas, because I found a couple different things that I think I'm gonna book. I would love to know if you have any creative ideas. And then it wouldn't be a trip to the US for the first time if you don't go to New York City, because that's just classic. Another favorite. I need to do an updated favorites video, but this is the Huda Beauty Strawberry Cream. Been using this pretty much every day. It wears so well, looks beautiful, blends out easy, pretty color. Like I just love everything about this. You don't need a lot. That's a lot. You actually don't even need that much. But I usually do a little more and then kind of like blend it out with my foundation brush if I need to. I got tickets for a musical for us while we're there, like Broadway. So we'll get to see a Broadway show. We're gonna be doing like a boat thing one day, going to my all-time favorite ramen place, the best ramen I've ever had in my life. It's called Kame in Chelsea. It's like the perfect amount of dewiness and radiance. Whatever's left over, I'll just kind of tap out the edges. It's a week and a half away in my time. I mean, every month I've been like, you know, kind of counting down for this. So it's just so crazy that now it's actually this close. I'm gonna use the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette. I haven't used this in a minute, and now that I've been wearing silver jewelry, I mean, I have a combo. I've been mixing metals basically because my Ultra Human's gold, and I still like gold, but I just feel like the silver does a little something more for my skin tone. With the silver tones, I do feel like cool tones look better, like cool toned eyeshadows. This palette has some nice cool tones. I don't want to do anything too crazy on the eyes, but just a little bit. And then I'm going to take this Lish Shadow Stick by L'Oreal. It looks silver in here, but it honestly looks more like a whitish silver. It's like a bright silver, so I like it for the inner corner when I'm doing a look like this. Okay, we got to talk about this powder because it is having a moment, gone viral. It's the L'Oreal Blurfection Infallible. So this is a blurring drugstore loose powder. Blurring products and blurring powders are one of my favorite things to test because I do have, you know, pores, texture. I love a blurring powder, and ironically, every single one that actually is blurring on my skin gets discontinued. I wish I were kidding, but the Urban Decay one, amazing. That's still my number one. That was the best blurring powder that I've ever tried, the Urban Decay loose one. Amicole, that brand is shutting down. So if you have the chance right now before they are fully gone, get the Amicole loose powder. That one is beautiful. And then the Givenchy loose powder, the matte one, before they reformulated it, they discontinued that formula, reformulated it. It's totally different. I also recently tried the Givenchy pressed powder version that they came out with that's supposed to be blurring. Did not like that one. That one just looked cakey on my skin. I ended up returning that because it's like a $60 friggin' powder or something crazy like that. Now we're on to this one, and this one I've been testing for the last couple weeks. Here's the thing. I do want to keep using it. Like I love the way that it looks on my skin. Is it as blurring as those other favorite powders I just mentioned? No, I think it's more like softening and very mattifying. So it gives the appearance of like softening things out and just like flattening the areas that you want more matte. I think it's probably like 30 to 40% blurring. It's not super blurring. It definitely has a little bit in there, but like you'll see today. And I don't love using it with a powder puff. I like using it with just like a little brush like this. I don't even know if they still have this. The Morphe V108 brush. Work it into the brush really well so it's like evenly coated. It is very fine, doesn't cake up, and you'll see how it really mattifies. I like using it just around my nose, a little bit on my forehead, and then on my chin, and it just does a really nice job of, I mean, look at that. Ooh, with this foundation combo though, I will say it's looking more blurring than it usually does. That just like made everything disappear. So you can see this side, hopefully, versus this side right here. Like, look at that. And then this powder in combo with a setting spray, like either the Dibs or this one. I've been loving this as the one size glass setting spray. This does such a beautiful job of just adding like a slight softness to your face without making it too dewy. And I love that they did not add a scent to this one. Thank you, Patrick Star. There's no scent. I did pick up the SPF setting spray from them that just came out too. And it says that one's mattifying. I don't know if it's mattifying in the sense that it's supposed to be like oil absorbing throughout the day, but it definitely gives a super glowy finish. So it's not like a matte kind of finish. This one is gonna barely adjust like the finish of your foundation. I think I want a tight line today. So I'm gonna take this Milani. I can't even remember if I like this pencil or if it does a good job tightlining, but I couldn't find my Lancome one that I've been testing. So I think I'm gonna do my little tiny flick with liner. This is the LA Girl Jet Setter liquid liner, and that turned into a full wing. It has a really nice mister too, comes out just very evenly and like light. So hard to find a setting spray that actually does something, like locks in your makeup, but then also doesn't super alter the finish. And this is one of those. I'm gonna put on the big deal. So really the only other big thing that has been going on in my life is these medical treatments I've been doing for the last like 4 months or so. I have one more, hopefully. I might have two, but hopefully just one more. And it's actually in August right after New York. So I fly straight to New York to where those treatments are and do another round. So I'm not in the headspace to get into that in this video, but it's definitely been the main thing going on. Just trying to get done what I can in between, and that is something I'm a little worried about with all the trips coming up, is just how functional I'm going to be. But like I always say with traveling, I would rather do it and try, and like let's say I'm down for a lot of the days, A, at least they can go do things on their own, and B, I would rather have like 1 out of 4 good days wherever I am traveling than not do it at all. So it's just like part of my life, but like I wouldn't have seen any of the places I've seen if I didn't do that. So I think I do want to put on some corner lashes, and I like using these when the mascara is still semi-wet, like 50%, so that they stick well. These you just pop underneath. I've talked about these so many times, but still love these. You just pop them underneath your lash and then squeeze together your natural lash with a little of that tacky mascara so that it stays really well. No glue is needed. So one thing that I did want to talk about in this video that is a totally different topic, I don't know how to start this, egg freezing. So I am 33, which is freaking wild to say. I feel like I'm 30. It is the time, definitely in the age range where it's recommended to, if you're going to freeze your eggs. I am nowhere near able to physically carry a child or take care of a child. I'm barely functional enough to take care of myself and half of a dog. Half of a dog is in with my partner, but kids in general is very much just like a question mark. I can't even think too much about it because, yeah, just like not knowing if it's even in the realm of possibility. Like my body would have to get to a significantly better place in the next few years to even be able to consider us having kids. And so it's weird because I'm like at the age now where I always knew this was always in the back of my mind. Like I want kids, but also at the same time, like I can't think too much about it because I just don't even know if that's gonna physically be possible in my life. But because of the old biological clock, and listen, I get that people are having kids now when they're late 30s, 38, 39, but if I want to play it on the safer side, I am considering freezing my eggs just to have the option. I have started researching, and holy shitsies, is it expensive? Oh my god. I knew it was expensive, but I didn't realize just how expensive it is. It is actually crazy. Okay, multitasking today turning out to be difficult. So I just got those on. Now we're gonna talk about my eggs. So I don't know, long story short, I had always kind of been like, you know, pushing out this thought, or I guess like pushing it down, and now, just because of my age and the whole biological clock thing, like I do need to think about it because I am in that range where it's kind of ideal to freeze your eggs if you're going to do it. I could get down the line in a few years and still not be in a place with my health to be able to have kids. And if that's what it is, you know, we're going to face that when it comes, kind of thing. Not thinking about that now, just thinking positive thoughts, but nothing is guaranteed. So you could go through the whole process and freeze your eggs and pay for storage for a few years and all of that. And then, you know, obviously it's not guaranteed that it's going to work in the first place, or you could have just done it naturally. And you know, there's so many unknowns. I am considering it. I have so many other things going on with my body that I think I would wait until like 6 months from now or so if I do decide to do it. But thank God for ChatGPT on this one, because I was doing all my, you know, individual research and then decided to pop over to ChatGPT and ask it the different, just like prices and differences, all the options, and that was so much more helpful. But essentially you have to pay a ton of money. Like in the US, the average is like $10,000 to $15,000 for one round, but most people need to do 2 rounds, and then you pay the storage fees, and a lot of the times there's like other fees tacked on. So basically if you do 2 rounds, the total thing can be like $30,000 in the US. One thing if I do it, that I would really consider is doing it in Spain, because in other countries it is so much cheaper. Like, and you can still store it, they can store it and ship it, or you can store it internationally. Even with the like storage fees and the flights and hotel and all of it, it would still be significantly cheaper, like half the price, if not less, like a third of the price than doing it in the US. I looked up Canada too. Canada seems like around similar pricing to the US. There was another country, was it Poland? Okay, so Poland, Bulgaria, Greece, Spain, and the Czech Republic are the top 5, but I think Czech Republic is on there just because it's the cheapest. It seemed like the best country to do it in is Spain, and I had looked into it actually a couple years ago, like when I was there. Seems like you have to spend a few weeks there, and then, you know, you're doing the whole process and then flying back. So it is a bit more of a commitment than just like doing it where you live, definitely, but you could save a ton of money. I also think it would be interesting to document like just the whole process and like doing it in Spain. Like I would love to see a video on that. That would be super useful. So if it can help other people decide, I think that would be cool, just to give some numbers. Even so, let's not take into account the travel costs like flight and hotel or Airbnb. So without that, the cost per cycle in Spain is 1,800 to 3,000 euro. So let's just look up the high end of that. 3,000 euros right now is $3,528 per cycle versus 10 to 15,000. Significantly cheaper, and there's, you know, like world-renowned clinics, they speak English. Definitely considering that. This is one of my favorite lip liners, Peripera 01 Rosy Nude. I also just think with my kind of extra unknown layer with just my body and all the health stuff, it just makes more sense to spend significantly less money when I'm like, I don't know if in a few years if I'm gonna be there. Stomaching like $30,000 in the US to do that when you don't even know if I'm gonna be able to, it just seems like obviously much higher risk than spending like a third of that in Spain. This I've been using literally every day. It's the Ramon Fig Breeze 04. You can get this on yesstyle. I layer it with pretty much any lip liner that I put on the outer part of my lips. It's just like a lighter pink color, but it's so nice and like blurring and softening. Goes really well over your lip lines and just kind of like smooths them out somehow. So I actually don't love this, but I wanted to show it because it's a new product. It's the Glossier Creamy. This is their lip glaze. I really like the shade, I will say that, but the formula is just like a little bit lackluster. I just feel like there's other similar lip oils that I like so much more. I just like don't recommend this one over those, but I'll show you. So it's a nice, pretty like rosy color. It's very light, but it definitely has like an oily kind of feel, and it just does not stay on my lips well at all. I much prefer like the, well, now it's going out of business, but the Micole, like this one, much prefer that. If you can still get this, pick it up before they're gone. The Smitten lip oil, the CoverGirl, link the exact CoverGirl one I'm talking about down below in the shade. The e.l.f. lip oil, current favorite, I use that almost every day. Definitely more like oily feeling than the other ones. And I also don't think it's like that glossy. It could be glossier. I might actually add on, I'm gonna add a little bit of the Micole over top. Oh, Yeah. All right, so this is the final look as far as the makeup, and I'll have everything linked down below in the description box, all the products I use, the shades, everything. I like how it turned out. I really like the skin, and I might be packing this combo. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to follow along in more like real time with Serenata visiting, you can head over to my Instagram. It's just @TaylorWynn. I will be posting a little bit on stories, and I'm sure some photos and stuff over there like before the vlogs come out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, you can check out Ritual and get 25% off your first order with the code TaylorWynn25 and go to ritual.com/TaylorWynn25. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.